Hello, everyone. Welcome back to WTF Walk the Floors, all things hospitality training. I'm Michelle Kline with Kline Hospitality, and I am here with my co hostess, Stephanie Ledger with First Rate Hospitality. How are you, Stephanie?
Doing well. How are you, Michelle?
Fantastic. Another week, another week. Here we go. We keep on putting our effort out there to get our beautiful leaders to continue to love our industry and do it in the best way possible. So, what are we going to talk about today?
So, I thought we would talk about appealing to the senses in hotels and how we can enliven the five senses to making sure that we're creating these engaging experiences for our guests.
I love the topic, and I can already think about a WTF moment in this scenario. So, tell me the following, Stephanie. Enlighten us with this. What are hospitality sensory experiences?
It all starts off of making sure that we are stimulating the guest senses with sight, smell, taste, touch, and sound to create a more immersive and memorable environment. And the goal really is to invoke the positive emotions and improve guest satisfaction and leave a lasting impression for our guests.
I love that. So, what are sensory experiences important in service? Why are
You
they
know,
so important?
Yeah, so really it goes to making sure we talked about with that guest satisfaction. So we want to making sure that our guests are being able to experience something that they can't experience anywhere else and have making sure that they are satisfied with those experiences that the hotel is offering, and also too that it's unique, it's holistic, it's something that may be represented by the brand. Say, for example, a smell, a scent that is for the brand, or an amenity as far as a culinary cuisine offering that would tie into the brand for that guest to being able to experience and creating those memorable, lasting impressions.
I love that, and it gets me excited just by listening to it. And there's this trend that has come into play quite a few years ago, especially on the gaming side of our industry, because we have the cigarette smoke and so on, which is pumping the scent in the air. And I remember being part of many projects where I had to be part of selecting that scent because the brand didn't necessarily have a scent. So how do you make that work? Because it's so difficult to appeal to everyone, right?
Mhm.
And then on the other hand, then when you walk in, oh, this is where I am. Like it immediately take you there. So what do you think are some of the ways to use sensory experiences to create those memorable moments, to be able to say, oh, this is where I am, right? And I know it because of X.
Yes. Well, you also too you want to be consistent. So it's not like, oh, today's fragrance is going to be lavender and then tomorrow's is scent is going to be gardenia, or also too of the level of the scent that is being pumped out. You want to making sure that it's consistent, it's not too strong that could affect ones with allergies or give people a headache, and also too it's not too soft where it's not even noticeable. So consistency is key, and then also too of testing and utilizing, like you said, of being part of a panel, of utilizing your team and having their feedback. Okay, when you smell this, what comes to mind? Or, what do you think about this scent? And utilizing even your guests too, of being able to finding that equal balance that can create those memorable experiences just by the scent. And it goes too with the other sense as well. So with taste and with touch of you being able to utilize different fabrics and different countertops as well to creating a different experience for the guest.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And being creative, right? So that you're not the same as the resort next door, but
Yes.
and targeting all the senses too, because some people learn better through their eyeballs and others through their ears, right? So if you want to really capture that emotion, then making sure that you're catering to all the senses too. That's great. Okay, so my next question is: do you have anything else that you feel like is possibly something you can share when it comes to what are some of those trends that you're seeing out there when it comes to creating those sensory experiences, like specifically to our industry?
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to start off with the ambiance and the decor. So, a lot with the visual and looking at the aesthetics of the space with attention to the lighting, the colors, and even the interior design to create a welcoming and a memorable atmosphere. And a lot of this is actually with the ambiance is utilizing your natural light. I think this is what we're seeing a lot with the hotels of creating those floor to ceiling windows, bringing in even in the lobby area, raising the lobby to a different floor, maybe on, say, the 10th floor. So we're able to capture more of that natural light for the ambiance for the guests instead of, oh, we're down in the basement of checking in the guests and it's all dark and not inviting. And then even too with the decor of being able to making sure that it's all matching. I mean, we've seen so many hotels going through different phases of their renovation, but here is really making sure that you're seeing a cohesive decor design on the visual standpoint.
So not just the different stages of the renovations, but also the different leaders that were in charge throughout the stages of that renovation, right? Where now someone comes in and says, "Oh yeah, leather, absolutely," and then somebody else comes in and says, "Oh yes, velvet, all over, like from top to ceiling," right? You said something about the windows, and I think that's so important. A lot of people absolutely love the feeling of being outside, and many times they will select a specific property, a specific hotel based on that feeling. How do we bring that feeling of outdoors inside? And there are many resorts, like you were saying, that are now um, bringing in or changing their windows, or like breaking down the whole facade to be able to fit Brazilian doors. So now when you're
Mhm.
stepping out of your vehicle into the lobby, you still see the extension of the lobby and you really feel like you're outside. So that's such a magical thing that I feel like it's one of the things that you can really recall the most after you left the property. So I think it's along the
Exactly.
lines of creating that sensory experience in order to capture the moment, right?
Yes, yes. And also too based upon the market. So seeing how can we capture the outside and bringing that into the lobby space or into the public area or even into the restaurant. So if you're more in the area that would be more in the deserts and then capturing how to have those colors cohesive with the environment of the market, or if you happen to be more of a ski resort, how to being able to capture winter almost all year long, or being able to change your environment based upon the seasons so it isn't winter all year long and saying in the middle of summer where things are more green in your area.
Lovely. I love that. So, what would you say is your WTF sensory experience moment?
Yeah, so when it comes to the WTF, I would have to say out of any of the senses, noise is the most sensitive of the senses, and I think the most noticeable as well. And this goes to whether that be I've experienced the fire alarm going off in the middle of the night, or also too of hearing the employees' conversations next to the side station, and here I am trying to enjoy my meal, or when the music and the ambiance of the restaurant doesn't go with the theme of the restaurant or the location of the restaurant, and then it's, blaring that I can't even have a conversation with the person across the table. So those are some of those WTF moments when it comes to the sensory. Of course, I've had it all, touching, and then all of a sudden may put my hands underneath the table, and of course there's a lot of
Chewing gum.
gum.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
That's
And
terrible.
then sights of, I mean, you and I, we've definitely have seen our fair share of sights in the guest rooms or in the public areas that are not enhancing the sensory of the property. But I definitely recommend for the leaders, walk the floors and look at it from the guest point of view, because there's so many times that when I was in operations that I would walk that lobby and not even notice the scent or the music, because I'm just so accustomed to it that I really had to say no. For right now, I want to focus on this sense, to seeing whether it be for the sound or for the smell, and even on the bad side of the smell too.
Right. So I am very sensory sensitive. So there's so many stories that I could share right now, but I want to share two, a positive one and not so positive one. I had one story prepared, but now you said something that
Mhm.
triggered me. You said the visual piece of it, right?
Mhm.
And the story I was going to share had to do with the sound, the sense of hearing. But the visual aspect, you mentioned how sometimes in resorts we have those views that are really not appealing and there is not a lot that you can do. But the reality is, we tend to forget there is very simple things that we can do, right? To make a rooftop look nice, or the top of a parking space look nice, or perhaps you have the same building that wraps around on the other side. What do we do about that? And I was at a resort recently where, as you looked out the window, there were things prepped on the rooftop that would tell a story. And I thought it was so epic because now, yes, sure, oh, look, what a great view. But then you start discovering things and it completely changed the experience around. So I think that was really, really cool. And then when it comes to the sensory, when you said about the music, right? And I remember being visiting a gorgeous property not too long ago, and the noise everywhere. And it was an
Mhm.
area where you are there to connect with nature. And everywhere you went, it was sensory overload from every perspective, but specifically the noise. There was a band
Mhm.
playing here, and then a band playing here, and then the music playing here, and then the other music playing there. So you maybe had five different songs or five different tunes playing at the same time. And that is not enjoyable at all. So I
No.
say that's definitely a WTF moment and something that we have to pay attention to. I had a hotel director of one of the properties I used to oversee, and she would come out to the lobby with an app on her phone and just walk around to see what the level of the music was like. And if it wasn't where
Mhm.
it had to be, she would go back up to the bar and say, you guys need to adjust this. And I
Yeah.
remember that when she left, everybody thought she was crazy because she was doing this. But when she left, it was uncomfortable to be at the lobby because nobody was paying attention to the level of that music. So
Mhm.
it's very interesting how something so simple can ruin the entire experience.
Exactly. And it needs to be adjusted at times. In the morning, set it at a level 5. The guests are just waking up and the lobby area is not as crowded as, say, it may be at 4 p.m., where now we need to adjust it to a level 7 or a level 8. and being able to gauge too based upon what's going on in your department or in the guest area too.
Totally. And then using music that goes with the decor or that
Yes.
goes with the theme, right? If you have, uh, I used to operate a property that was a Polynesian team, and you would step into the property and you would hear the music, and you felt like you were
Mhm.
literally somewhere else. It was so cool. So that's also part of, not only the level, but what type of music are you playing? Same as when you step into a spa area, everything is
Yes.
calm, and it's part of the experience. I love it. I love the topic. Thank you so much for this,
Yes.
Stephanie.
And
This was great.
speaking on the thank you. And speaking also too on the spa side is, we're seeing a lot more of wellness being the focus for guest experience. And I think this is also too a trend that we're going to see more of hotels adapting to it, and then being able to experience how can you experience a relaxing memorable experience. And there's so many other sensories that would go with that compared to, say, more of a birthday celebration or a wedding where the sensories would be much different for the guests to be able to experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Great topic. Thank you so
Mm.
much, Stephanie. Are there any other nuggets
Yes.
that you think you should share with our audience?
I would say, other trends that we're starting to see is also too with the digital art installations. So being able to not only utilize what's in the local market, but also to your local purveyors and your local artists, to being able to having them creating those different sensories for your hotel. And that is also too what creates it to being so unique, because those artists are local and they're not anywhere else. To being able to engage with them also too is another way to create a unique experience.
Love it. Thank you so much for sharing your insight on this very
Mm.
valuable and very trending topic.
Yes.
And do you have an extra snippet? Are we good? I don't
We're
want to cut it
good.
short. Okay, perfect. So we give you back the gift of time, everyone out there. Thank you so much for being on the other side. Stephanie, this was great. Thank you so much for putting this topic together.
Yes, thank you. See you all for the next episode.